Hi everyone, my name is Alex Cruz. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a proud Simmons alum. I'm from the newest generation alum who graduated in May of 2020. And I'm currently pursuing a graduate degree at Cornell in biomedical engineering. And so if you have any questions about graduate school life after Simmons, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. So this was actually amazing timing because this week actually happens to be Trans Awareness Week. So it's a fantastic time to bring awareness to the trans community, the experiences of trans people, and how we can further support the trans community. I identify as a transgender man, and so I'm providing the perspective of my own and my own lived experiences. However, the amount of lived experiences are infinite because the queer community so different, and that is on a spectrum, and so that's an important disclaimer before I provide my perspective. Thank you again to Miso for doing this topic, because I feel as though it is hard enough for people who are cisgender, who identify with their gender assigned at birth, to feel at home and confident about their bodies, let alone for someone who identifies either as trans and non-binary, who may experience what is called dysphoria, a feeling of disconnect or not fully identifying with parts of the body that you were born into. And so navigating this and finding ways to stay body positive and stay confident about the body that we're existing in is really, really essential. So in these videos, you're going to hear me reference some things as someone who is going through a transition. I am about 11 months on T, and so I provide that perspective. However, you absolutely can identify as trans and not medically transition. There is no need or pressure to medically transition. You are just as trans and just as valid. This is just one of the methods that helps me feel at home in myself and in my body, and therefore when you hear me reference some things, so that's just some background information. Alright, so let's get into the tips. My first tip for how I stay body positive is embrace the things, I just have some notes here, embrace the things that you like and don't be ashamed to celebrate them. But with this comes also having patience with the things that you're either in the process of working on. It doesn't necessarily have to be a change, but something maybe you're working on. And also have patience with the things that maybe you can't change. And where I connect with this is there are parts of my body that I know I absolutely cannot change. I can't change, like, I don't know, my height, for example. But being in this transition process and being on T, there are lots of parts of my body that will change gradually. Maybe some changes I see within the 3-month mark, maybe. So to continue that last video, parts of like the things that are gradually changing, maybe I see changes 3 months in, maybe some new changes come around 6 months, 3 years, it's a very long process. And so navigating how you can stay as positive as possible throughout your day-to-day life is really essential, because I think it's easy to focus on that finish line of once I see all these changes, once my body has done all it can with hormone therapy, making sure that you stay as positive as possible, because we're gonna live in these bodies, hopefully as long as possible. And so learning how to be patient with the day-to-day things and be affirming to yourself and be affirming to others is really, really important. Alright, my second tip is try your best to not compare yourself to others, and this can be really hard, especially because for trans people, often we don't identify with the body we were born into, and with that comes the note that maybe your gender is something that changes for you. If it changes at any point in time, that is perfectly valid, and so that only makes it more difficult for trans people, just to find a balance of not comparing themselves with other people, but also maybe learning what makes them feel the most affirmed about their gender. That's really tough, especially when we live in a very competitive society, which I think is really dangerous for. And with that, like trying your best to not compare yourself tip comes like constantly checking yourself in. Maybe I tried this and it didn't work, so I can try this instead. Or maybe something really important to note is that uh, you constantly can be in flux of whether you like something one day and you don't like it the next day or 2 hours from now, and that's okay. Like, be patient with yourself too, and be kind with yourself, because this is a journey that you are taking. It's beautiful and it deserves to be celebrated, but you also can hit some highs and hit some lows during this process, and finding out what works best for you is a journey as well. So please be kind and be patient with yourself, and know that whatever you're experiencing is perfectly okay. So with that last point of um, being patient with yourself, dysphoria is a really difficult thing to navigate. And in my experience, being on hormone therapy has made it significantly less. But again, that's just my experience. So maybe, um, you know, you absolutely don't have to be on hormones to minimize your dysphoria, or learn to navigate it. And I especially want to be inclusive of the non-binary population and non-binary folks when I'm making these, um, when I'm saying these things and providing these tips. So navigating dysphoria is very, very tough. There are certain things that I maybe didn't like pre-transition that I'm learning that, okay, I like this because as my body's masculinizing, I'm comfortable wearing this now. I'm comfortable experimenting. So, as I've been mentioning, the key term dysphoria is really important to understand when you're trying to be supportive of the trans and non-binary community, because I feel like this brings me into my third tip, which is having conversations with those around you and conversations with yourself about what feels good to you. And by that, I mean, in the queer community, we have this thing called chosen families, and it's really applicable to anyone who makes you feel supported and loved. And so what this means is, whether that is your best friend, your partner, people you interact with constantly, coworkers, peers, whoever you consider to be part of your chosen family, or people you just interact with constantly, have a conversation with them about what feels good to you and what maybe are some things that could be triggering and should not be talked about. And something important to think about is maybe someone doesn't like their body being mentioned at all. So that is an important conversation, and a big way to support your trans friends, your trans coworkers, your trans family members is ask them simply, what do you like and what don't you like? And this is not unique to the trans community. I think it's just generally a good practice. Do you like compliments when I compliment you on your clothes? Do you like compliments on this specific part? Should I stay away from anything? Is there any way that that I can support you that you're navigating right now and you're not the most comfortable with, but how can I help you is a really huge thing that can be supportive and incredible. So, yeah, that's my third tip, is have a conversation. And because I wanted to touch up on compliments during our body positive conversation, because I feel like you never know what someone is carrying, and you never know how someone takes what you say into account with their day. I think words are really powerful, and while I think it's important for you to learn how to let the negative kind of roll off your back, we also have to go around and acknowledge that our words are really powerful, and what we say has meaning to someone, especially those that are within the trans community, who may need a little bit more support in a certain area, or something that you say could really make their day, make them feel affirmed. A few last points I want to make before wrapping up is that mental health and body positivity, and especially the trans community, I think it's all interconnected. And so my key point is like, please take care of yourself as best you can, and however you accomplish that day, like just know that you are doing incredible with the milestones you've made that day. And I think that's specifically important right now while we're navigating being in a pandemic. We have had to navigate how to like exist the most with ourselves than we ever have, I think. And whether you are trans or not, that is a difficult thing. And be proud of what you have accomplished during that time. Take care of yourself. Try your best to adopt practices that help you with that. I know journaling helps a lot of people. I don't do. So as I mentioned, journaling does not help me because I have trouble just sitting down and doing it. And so I'm trying to get better at it because I do notice good things when I do it. But the way I navigate that right now is I open the notes app and I put in a few words, maybe a paragraph or two, and just reflect, and take in the experience the best I can. With transitioning right now, I'm trying to just like absorb every moment because it's really beautiful. And so the good and the bad are things I can learn from, and that's just true for everybody. You can learn from the ups and downs in your life, and so do whatever makes you feel the best and makes you feel recharged and reconnected. So like hiking is really big in my area right now. I live in Ithaca, so it's really, things could constantly like be in flux. So as I mentioned, hiking is great some days, but some days I just like dancing. I just throw in headphones and just dance. Do whatever makes you feel the best. And whether your body positive tips are literally not focusing on your body for the day, then go with that and, do what makes you feel the best. Wrapping up this feature, I am so thankful to Miso again. I just wanted to mention that. But if you have any questions on anything that I said, feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram handle is AlexCruz_8, and I'm so happy to answer any questions on things that I am knowledgeable about and point anyone in the direction of any help that they potentially think that they could have. If any of these like things hit home with you, if you think that you've been experiencing it and just need to vent and talk about that with me, I'm happy to do that. Please feel free to reach out. Fantastic resource for people who are seeking some more information, whether you're trans or non-binary, is Fenway Health. They are amazing. They're right down the street from Simmons, and I have experience going to them for gender affirming care. They are literally so incredible. And on their website, you're going to find a bunch of really great things, such as just information on what it is you could connect with in terms of what you're feeling with other people who are like you, trans and non-binary support groups for trans and non-binary, the relatives of trans and non-binary people, as well as a support group for the partners of trans and non-binary people. So they have an abundance of things. Another great thing I've been seeing is Plume. We are in a pandemic, which unfortunately means there's a delay in seeking care. And yeah, Plume is a virtual way of seeking gender affirming care, and it's all virtual. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. I believe they even are able to ship your treatment plan to you. They can ship your treatment plan to you. And another really great resource is Trans Lifeline. They have a lot of incredible micro grants that people could have access to if you are trying to get your gender mark I mentioned stands out to you and you think that you can benefit from. Please, like I said, don't hesitate reaching out to me. Miso will tag me in this, and you can just reach out and I'll connect you to whatever I can. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for making it to the end with me, and thank you to Miso again for having me. This is such a really important topic and privilege. Happy Trans Awareness Week to all those who identify and all who are part of the community. Thank you again to Miso. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I'm so thrilled to see how you guys have grown. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please Be safe and enjoy the holidays. And like I said, if anyone has any questions on what life like is after Simmons, I'm always here for anything you can need, and I'm so thankful to be a part of the Simmons family.